completely different. Just being able to add on the coverage part of it. So I heard you guys talking about mentoring Coach Rowan. That's what I've been doing in the past couple months. Is always anytime Coach Harris, Coach Brown, or Coach Greger has time for coverage, I've been doing that just so we can speak the same languages and making sure, at least in my effort, we are taking steps forward and not staying stagnant in that position. So, but it's definitely been more geared towards coverages, and then obviously with the pass rush stuff, that kind of goes hand in hand with what we did at defensive line. Kind of a collective thing, obviously my goal to eventually become a coordinator, and I think that just helps my development in terms of being able to not only speak the coverage-wise, but be able to coach it, and not just be solely a front guy. And then we had already on staff, Coach Rip Rowan, that we knew we would not take a step backwards at defensive line. I mean, he's ran meetings for me last year. That's how good this coach is, and he's bringing new ideas to the table that actually is things that I think helps all of us defensively. So that was just it was a move that Coach Lake agreed upon, and for my development, that's the right move.
When you knew all the stuff was going to happen back with the Coach K meeting, did you envision Coach Rip being in a position where he could probably move into that spot?
Well, yeah, my opinion probably did it better more so than Coach Lake's, but I did. If there were, that's what I think is really good about our program, where people are developed both as players and coaches, and if we are progressing to where we think we can get to, then everything should be elevated from within. And I think that guy has really deserved it. He's earned it, and you guys will see you will see the defensive line play get better. Yeah, he's doing awesome. He's a really, really smart kid. Obviously gifted, very athletic, very powerful. He plays. He's learned both positions already, strong and weak. So he's definitely come here to compete, and that's what we expect of him.
Based on what you saw in film,
yeah.
How do you envision trying to use him compared to maybe how they try to use him?
Well, so to me, I think we can. I mean, the pass rush stuff you can see on film and what he can bring to the table. I thought he could actually play in space. So for a bigger body like him, being able to play in space, he's already 260. Working his way probably to 270 very shortly. That's a big body. That's kind of like Zion. Zion, he's pretty big as well, playing in space. And this guy's really gifted, and that's what I thought he could bring to the table. So we're not just all defensive end-minded players. We can play both. We can now, like Coach Greger's installed our base defense. So now the Sam and the Buck, the weak and the strong, are playing coverages. We just actually saw with him. Offense had a great play, but him running with receivers down the field. So I think that's what he brings to the table for us.
What's the next step for
Learning how to practice. I mean, really. I mean, that's for Zion is learning how to be a professional, and for us, being a professional is learning how to practice. Him being able to mentor other kids, him being able to run a meeting. They're about to go in a meeting so he can run it. But those are the things to me in terms of development that he needs to take that next step, because he's pretty gifted in all the other facets of it. So he wants to become a leader through practice, showing the drills, being up in front, and then being able to teach it in the meeting rooms. A whole bunch. It helped us first off with him not losing any years, right? So we were able to put him out on the field. But for him from high school to college, and I'm sure Sam Hewitt is probably experiencing that, the speed of the game is so fast, and that's what you got to get used to. Savell had to get used to not only the speed, but the offensive guys that are, 350 pounds that are moving just as fast as him, and they're really good at technique. So he went from becoming a powerhouse rusher to now having to use technique, now having to attack joints and whatnot. And I think he is a student of the game. He's up in my office almost every day, so that's very encouraging. But he's only going to get better. I mean, what your expectations of him are, it'll come to fruition. Yeah. Levi might be one of the most explosive players we've had. I think that's what the NFL coaches as well as scouts are looking at. That's what makes him really, really good at 295 pounds. I mean, he ran a 4.82, but part of it was just the explosiveness on how fast he gets out. That's one thing that he's really good at, and then he understands leverage. At our level, at times his pad level got high, but he understands where to use his hands, where to place them. So that will come into play. And those are the things that the scouts and the NFL coaches were talking about. He's very explosive off the ball, and he understands leverage in how to offset offensive linemen. Joe Tryon, his pass rush skills. He's long. He's a long, athletic player he has flexible hips. His hand swipes, how violent he is with his hands. That will be his asset moving on to the next level. But both I still think can get better, and depending on what teams they go to, will mold them to the player that they need to be. Yeah. Yep. It is, and I that's what you want. I think I'm sitting in an ideal situation that Coach K has left here. We are 3 deep for sure, and actually we can get to 4 deep with Lolo Hale coming up and then Jeremiah Martin entering the picture. But that's what you want, and those guys understand that competitiveness in my room is you being able to teach somebody so that they know just as much as you, and then going out to the field and beating them. Going back to Zion. That's Zion's job now. Zion needs to teach Jeremiah everything he knows so that Jeremiah is getting better, and then now go on the field and prove why he's better than Jeremiah. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Zion was Latu's backup. So Zion became a star by opportunity. And that's what you're always. If we can continue to push in that way, where they visualize themselves as a starter, like Zion did when he had his chance, it wasn't a wow factor. It wasn't something that surprised him. He was just waiting his turn, and when he did, he kind of took advantage of it. He's starting to understand technique, and he was very powerful from where he came from. He was more of a bull rush type of guy, run you over. He was bigger than most. What you see right here now, that's what he was in high school. And so he's starting to learn technique. He's starting to attack joints. He's starting to learn leverage. And from that, I think you'll see him start to get better this spring.
Another guy we didn't see like this was Braylon.
Yes.
Where's Braylon?
Without putting so much pressure on him, Braylon will be and probably better than Joe Tryon. He's very long. He's athletic. He can drop in space. He can do all of those intangibles, and he's physical enough. He does want to put his hat and eyes on you. So as he progresses, you will see him taking about the same path as Joe Tryon did.
Talk a little bit about the journey with layoffs and
Yeah.
beginning when you found out about the issue and just walking through all of that and finding some of that situation. I'm sure you were working closely with.
Yeah, so Layatu was, he still has a bright future ahead of him, but I think he visualized himself having an opportunity to go to the NFL. I mean, he started for us as a freshman, and, when the whole situation happened with him, obviously there's some doubt in trying to figure out what your next step is. The good thing is we kind of already had a plan. He's going to be my student assistant coach, and he's going to help out and try to pass knowledge on to those players while he does his rehab. If not for football, he always wanted to be a fireman. And, so we got connection to get him a shadow ship eventually when he's ready to get going and, start to do it with the Seattle Fire Department. But, he is a tough kid. We had some Bible studies together and a lot of crying and that type of stuff. But he's a strong kid that, I still think he has a bright future ahead of him. Yeah. That was hard. I mean, for any kid, that was really hard. And I'm thankful that mom was able to come up here and spend time with him as well. But I'm sure he'll still go through it. throughout the process. So his help for us in this program is not done yet. Once he'll start his rehab coming up shortly, and then, like I said, you guys will see him out there helping out and moving his wisdom towards a different field.
This seems you talked a couple times about players teaching each other and these good competition. How important is that for them to get that in the
Well, for us, it's very important. It's our whole program breeds competition, but most don't understand our view of it. A lot of times competition is you just do whatever you can to be better than the next. For us, competition is also being able to raise somebody else's standards up that they might not have had. So as the seniors are graduating, they're always trying to pass down knowledge to the next, and then it kind of goes on. And this has been since I was a player. You learn culture through it. You learn playbook stuff. Most importantly, you learn how to become a dog, how to become a husky, and that's something that I hold dear, being a husky. But that's, without that for us, then to me, I think it's just a selfish world. There's no competition. It's just me, and it's a dog-eat-dog world, and we like competition through educating each other. Absolutely, absolutely. I was taught that, and it continues to go on. Yeah. Ryan, what is he on his 9th year? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Ryan he's the one that set the meeting today. That's his leadership in that group. I can't even explain how important that is. From the time we broke in practice to him demanding, let's go get some lunch, let's watch film together, let's get better before we back on the field. That to me is a true leader. He had a really good day today, and he didn't even get a chance to watch film for himself. He was worried about the group, or I should say concerned about the group, and the only way our group can get better. Take away Ryan and Jeremiah Martin. Those are the senior juniors. The rest of them are freshmen. And so Ryan, for him and his legacy, he has to make sure those freshmen know exactly what they're looking at, how to look at it, and so we can continue to climb forward. Ryan is huge for us.
Given where you played and the positions you played,
Yeah.
can you take anything from that when you move back to the outside linebacker?
Yeah, that's the way I finished my career here, was outside backer. So it's kind of fun to get back to it, being able to do some of the drills that those guys are doing, and then just transferring how much it has changed from when I was here and then, the linebackers of today. But it's kind of cool to kind of live through these guys, vicariously through them. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.